Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a stream. Today we are going to make a new artwork and well, we're streaming. Alright. I was busy with other stuff, so I wasn't really paying attention. Oh crap, I forgot to check whether my tablet works, so hopefully it's gonna be okay. Let's start a new canvas. Let's just create an A4, which is something that I usually do nowadays. Let's check OBS. I think my my frames are okay. Yes. Let's this like that, and there we go. Yeah, I think everything is okay. Alright, so I had this idea, or we had this idea to create a sort of a floating forest. Well, let me give you some context. I'm writing a series of books with my sister, and it's going to be a fantasy series, sort of fantasy adventure. And somewhere in the series, the character comes to a forest, but it's not a regular forest, it's a floating forest. But we still haven't really figured out how we're gonna let the forest float, whether it's just sort of hovering in the air, a bit like you have the islands in Avatar, for instance, or if we're gonna make it sort of that it's kind of anchored in the ground some way. So to sort of explore that, I'm gonna sketch some stuff, and just to sort of explore the idea of a floating or hovering forest. I searched for some reference, so we're gonna put a reference on the second screen there, out of sight for you guys, but in sight for me. Hopefully it works. There we go. So I can't see. Well, I need to be able to see the chat. It's sort of. What if I put this there? There we go. That's better. Yeah. Now I have my reference, my chat. I can see. Whether I'm dropping any frames or not. So this should be okay. Yeah, it's been a long time since I did this. I had some well, there was a vacation. I had to think about my health, so I had to sort of figure stuff out in life. And yeah, currently I don't have much to do, and I was a bit bored. So I thought, why not start live streaming again and creating videos and stuff like that. Maybe it will be a little bit slower than before. I think I'd rather make good content that comes a little bit slower than bad content that comes quick. Let's see, what kind of brush do I want? I feel like this one is a little bit too thick. Go with this one for now. Alright, so we at first I sort of want to explore sort of let's ooh. I'm terrible at writing in Photoshop with my tablet. I never really do it. Maybe I should do it. So keep it all capital letters. Forests. So there are sort of certain ways we can do it. We can make it hovering the air. We can make it sort of not really a floating or hovering forest, but sort of like it is. There are sort of big tree trunks growing at certain places, like pillars. But normally, if you have a tree, it's just a tree with leaves on top. But maybe we can sort of make a big sort of platform that's sort of supported by pillars. Supported by pillars? Question mark. It's not really too readable, but it's okay. There's another ID that we can do. Rich-like, and I will explain what I mean by that. So we have a couple of IDs. Hovering is just let's go with hovering here. This is sort of me figuring stuff out, which I think is a good thing. So we're gonna stream today, maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. It depends on the schedule. But let's say that we have a hovering forest. So we have the ground. So this is the ground. Then we have nothing, and then we have sort of maybe rocks and sediment, and then we have the trees on top. So this is a little bit Avatar-esque, I'd say, because maybe there's sort of things hanging and dangling down and stuff like that. But I think this is sort of done before. I think this is sort of it can be really cool. Maybe it's sort of anchored in the ground by big sort of rope type stuff. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe a certain sort of air flows keep it where it is supposed to be. So this is sort of really hovering, and then you could have a sort of a path going from here to there, and then maybe you have some housing or whatever. We have an ID for the species or the race or whatever you want to call it that lives in the forest. It's not a human race. We're gonna call it the Dutch name. So even boss sketch number 1. So yeah, but the idea is that the people don't really live in houses there, but that's for another that's another story. So that's sort of the hovering type thing, and let's support it. And then we're gonna be more like the ground, and maybe some big gnarly trees. We can really probably find some references for that online. So like this, and maybe another one here. And we could make this higher. I mean, we can make it really high, but and then this is more like a real. The thing is, do we sort of make this look like treetops? Because then it just looks like a normal forest. If we're gonna do it like this, and then there's gonna be trees up here as well, then it's gonna be a little bit different. So this is sort of a second layer of sediment there, where trees will grow. So you have the really big trees, and then I'm not sure. I think it could work, but we'd have to maybe more Amazon-like. The Amazon is really cool. No, not really the Amazon. Yeah, the Amazon River, the mangrove trees there. They have these sort of roots that are above ground. They have the water, and then the roots sort of are sticking up and going in the tree. But I think this is really hard to sell to sort of make sure that people see that there are a lot smaller trees up top here. That's I think it's gonna be a lot more like a normal forest. So this is a bit hard to sell, I guess. So we can let's say hard to sell. Sell. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but if we, for instance, would choose for this concept, we could try to figure out how we can make it work. The problem I have with this is I feel it's too generic for a fantasy type world. You see a lot of ideas with floating islands and stuff like that. So it's gonna feel a lot more like a floating island. And the goal is that it really is a forest with and that's gonna be the thing here as well. We probably don't really want a sediment layer here, but maybe only just sort of treetops, but then it's gonna look like a regular forest. The other idea that I have is really tall trees, and maybe that idea just sprung to life a couple of minutes ago when I wrote this down. And that might even that might be sort of the best one so far. So like a bridge, sort of two really big trees, even higher than the General Lee, I think it's called, the big one, and the Sherman, right? Trees, the great redwoods. But let's say at least 1,000 feet tall. I mean, it's fantasy, so gonna have to throw around some big sizes here, and then sort of a hanging structure here, and on the hanging structure there is another forest. Trees. That could be kind of cool. So then you have these sort of maybe this can be four sort of on the four corners, or a circle with or just let's sort of try this. Let's sort of make this can be sort of just a norm, and then we have trees on top. And we don't have to limit it to one. It could be more. But I'll have to figure that out. For instance, this is and this just looks the same like that, and this is gonna be like the big tree, big tree, big tree. Then we have sort of these cables. It's like a bridge, and then I really think this could be the best idea so far. I think, because I feel like it's. I'm not sure, of course. There's a lot of stuff has been done in fantasy and things like that. I mean, it's hard to come up with something original, and it's not always necessary to come up with something really original. This could be sort of patches. Well, this feels more because that's the goal sort of we want to convey here, or the story, is that it is not necessarily naturally grown, but it is created by someone with a certain magic force that we use in our. I can't really tell too much yet, but that is stuff that I can tell. It's sort of, it is created using a certain magic force. So yeah, that this looks the most like sort of a real creation, I'd say. So yeah, I really like this one, this ID. I think we sort of need to I think we want to explore that a little bit more. I think I just want to scratch this one. I don't think we're gonna do that because as epic as it looks, I mean, let's be honest, it looks great floating stuff like this. We don't really have to. We can do it like this, so they have one way to get up. But it really feels a little bit generic, I think. Like your standard fantasy. Oh, we need a cool thing. Oh, let's make a floating island. So I don't think I want that. I think if we figure this out, how we can make this look cool without making it look like it is just a dense sort of treetop type of thing up here, then I think we can pull this one off, and we definitely want to explore this one more. But I don't want to throw this out of the window yet, because sort of the bottom one is a variation of this one, of course. So yeah, we're gonna continue with these two. So yeah, this is sketch number 1. I pinged it on one layer. That's okay, I guess. Let's be real quick here. Just create a new layer and do it like this, and then save it as number 2. By the way, I don't know how long I will be streaming for. It depends. I kind of want to do the sketches today, and maybe start working on the painting tomorrow if I'm gonna stream tomorrow. So it's probably gonna be like an hour or something today. I don't want to overstretch myself right at the beginning, so I'd rather go slow first, so I can keep up, then go really quick and pump out stuff. Alright, so let's write again, because I'm not good at it, and by doing it more I will improve, hopefully. Floating forests. There we go. The thing is it floating or hovering? Floating sort of assumes that it is in water, right? And we probably want different shots, so sort of looking down on the forest and looking up, stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna go with fairly small windows here. Copy it. Go. We're gonna copy this. can copy this. So we have a lot of room to create. That's quite small, but I think it's okay. We have a lot of variations to make that way. Let's see, that's 5. So it's gonna be 15 sketches. That's a lot, actually, but that's okay because we're gonna keep them fairly loose. There we go. So if I have one layer here, do I want to sketch a new layer? I don't think it's really necessary. I want to open my sketch here. I don't want to have this somewhere on the screen as well, maybe. Not really. Let's take a good look at it. I have the idea in my head, so. Alright. Let's see, where do we start? There's gonna be a lot of let's zoom in a little. It's we have a it's really small. Probably should have gone with something like this with 6 or something page, but we're gonna try this. We're gonna try to keep it really small. I'm not sure where to begin, so I don't want to do a side view. I want to get some. Maybe I should add more. Let's see. This could be one of those big trees. The thing is, if I do it like this, yeah, then the sort of the tree gets. Then there's gonna be sort of let's go to the distance, and then we have our island over here hanging there, and then we have a big tree over there as well. Some ropes or stuff, not really the ropes, but plant vines and stuff go towards the island. It's gonna be really rough first, but that's okay. We have an hour to not an hour. We have a little over half an hour to make 15 sketches, so we gotta keep it rough. Assuming that we only keep this at an hour. Could go over it a little bit, I guess. Not really a big deal. We wanted to. But yeah, I'm a little bit rusty, as you can see. Well, I don't know if it's if you can see it, but I can definitely feel it. So this is going to be fairly thick, fairly tough. It's not really, it's not a small twine or something. It's going to be really big, and maybe can make this sort of can do some cool stuff with the trees later as well. So this is big, it's big trees. And then, of course, we're gonna have to sort of make this a micro. Not really. This is gotta be a full-size landscape, so it's gotta be hard to. We need something for scale here, because this can be a waterfall, I guess, from the thingy. On the platform, and there's probably all sorts of stuff and plants hanging from it. But yeah, we have to make sure that we sort of sell it as it's a full-size landscape. So it's not sort of a miniature thing. It's a normal full-size couple of acres landscape here. And that's gonna be rough to sort of sell that somehow. It's gonna be quite difficult. There's gonna be another tree here, so it sort of fades in the distance or in the side here. So that's something we need to figure out how we get the sense of scale in there. Taking a lot of time for this one sketch, but that's kind of okay, I guess, because that's sort of the first one. So also do something with, I don't know, maybe some sort of, and sort of like it's hanging from a big branch. Maybe there's some branches here, and then it's hanging from that. But that might even be more difficult to sell, because then there's probably stuff on the branches as well. So that's another way we could do it, is sort of make trees on which there is a sort of a normally you have moss and stuff growing on trees. But instead of moss, we'd have a whole forest growing on the trees. But yeah, that's gonna be hard to. That's gonna be really tough to sort of sell. But we could try to figure out a way to maybe do it. I don't know. This is a is a floating stuff, and there's gonna be a thing going to a tree which holds it up. Probably sort of. It's probably sort of veins of it growing where it kind of grabs the tree. So it has to have a lot of grip on the, not the tree, the landscape. What else can we do? Maybe sort of try to explore the idea of the pillars a little bit more. So let's say that we have sort of and it's not necessarily floating, but you could argue that the people there, because the people will call it the floating forest. The same goes, for instance, for the hanging gardens. They were not really hanging. it depends. Yeah, but no, there were terraces on which the gardens were, so I believe so. It's not necessarily a hanging garden, so this is not necessarily floating uh, or hovering. So that's already 4 sketches in like 5 to 10 minutes. Of course, these are not final IDs. These are just to sort of get going. Um, could also do it something like this, and then maybe these are sort of almost like mountains. So there's a mountain, and then maybe they up there they join trees, for instance. Uh, have to sort of explore that and then give it some skill. Let's build a little castle here. That would be sort of the indication of scale. But then it's still fairly small, so we probably want to have it even larger. And that can be done by making the castle smaller, of course. Let's see, what else do we have? Could go with a really thick sort of trunk, relatively, sort of quite short. Well, this is going to be really wide in terms of actual size. But that's also a way to do it. For instance, like this. You're gonna go with the pillar ID. I'd like this the most, probably. And then sort of we have a forest here, maybe even some mountains. And maybe if we're gonna do it like that, we could make let's get the landscape up there, and then we could even say there's a bigger one in the background. That could also be a thing. I'm not really negative about that. I think it could definitely be possible because let's say if we make this a couple of miles, so let's say that this trunk is 2 miles in diameter. I mean, we're talking about a fantasy situation here, of course. So, or yeah, let's make this, for instance, if this is a mile, then this is sort of two, then it's 5 miles across. So that's going to be huge. So if you're standing here, you look up, you and it depends if it is a sort of a tropical climate. So it's all there's a forest down here. No, there's a shade, so there's no forest down there probably. So it's going to be quite dark here. So you look up and you see the stuff floating above you. So yeah, then I can definitely see the name Floating Forest come into play. And if you would look from that from above, maybe these are sort of these massive so this is going to be a really bad sketch. And when you're sort of looking up, it's going to be Almost like a giant mushroom. Because mushrooms are also quite. Some mushrooms are quite wide in terms of their cap compared to the stem. Trunk. I don't know how you call it on a mushroom. So maybe there's that could be cool. Maybe there's a big city in the tree trunk. That could be cool. Ah, that's really. I have another idea. Maybe the trunk is hollow. So when you're looking from above, there is the whole forest around here, and then sort of looking in this abyss. And maybe this sort of in the road there can be houses, for instance, and you can sort of walk up, and then there's some complicated bridge things. I think we found our design here. Yeah, I think we did. I really like the sort of the suspended bridge. Is that the correct term? I think it is. The hanging thingy. But I think I like this better because then we sort of have a we can have this as a sort of a double function thing, and then we can make this really look cool and with housing and maybe even half open areas, sort of where you can look through it and stuff like that. So sort of build some architecture. It's probably a little bit too big in size, the architecture that I'm building right now, but even then. Oh, maybe not, maybe not. Maybe it is. Sort of hanging, and maybe there's sort of hanging houses here as well, sort of from the top, so you can sort of walk through stuff here, and then you can descend in your cozy little home. That's actually really cool, I think. Maybe I should do different roof designs than this. This is sort of Japanese style, but I think we found our thing here. Then there's gonna be a sort of all sorts of housing here. Maybe there's a big tower in the middle. Who knows? Because it's a made, not man-made, but made by the race that lives here. Um, so yeah, so far I'm quite liking this. This goes down, of course. So maybe there's a big tower in the middle. No, so I really like the idea here. You have to probably figure out other ideas as well, but I think this is gonna be it. I really think so. 'Cause I really dig it. Far away in the distance, there you have sort of the sky. I really like this sketch as well. Do I want to make more sketches? Probably. Why not? Wait a second. It's color pick. We're gonna erase. We want to have the right color. Yeah. What else can we do? We could also go with a big tree, like we had, and then with different platforms, sort of like this, like we had before, like this one right here. But the thing is, if you're gonna do that, then if this is gonna be fairly solid, there's no light here, so this is gonna be in the shade. So that's gonna be hard for plants to grow there. So I think the sort of the single stack ID is better, unless you really if the sun is low, it might go there, but unless we really make it a shape like that, so we can make sure that enough sunlight hits the stuff there. But not really sold. I think I like this ID the best. I really like this one combined with that one, and then with that one. Of course, this is sort of the same thing here. We haven't really worked on this one yet. This entertains the sort of the thought that excuse me. This gives the idea that there are maybe more of these, but that's something we're gonna have to figure out, and it's also something I have to discuss with my little sister, what we want to do with that. But yeah, that's how we sort of also generate IDs, or at least I generate IDs. Well, we generate sort of the general ID, and then by sort of drawing and doing like that, by making it visual, you can really explore different concepts. So yeah, that's I really like that. I really feel that we can sort of enhance our story by just sketching and painting stuff. It's not that we sketch and paint or do everything. Every little detail, but we have quite a lot of sketches and things and paintings for the book. Because the idea is that it is going to be multiple books. But we sort of have the story complete, as in the big storyline. There's going to be a lot of detail that still has to be filled in, of course, but the storyline is there. So hopefully we can find a publisher. Well, we have some contacts with the publisher, and they are quite enthusiastic about the story so far. So, gonna hear from them fairly soon whether they want to do anything with it or not. But they are already quite interested, and they asked us to edit a few things. We send them the first few chapters of the book, or of the first book, and they asked us to edit some stuff, and hopefully we did a good job with that. So this is sort of an underneath view of the thing, because yeah, the platform has to be supported somehow. So there's probably going to be sort of a lot of branches that give support to the thing. It's going to be it's quite difficult to sort of show that image in a rough sketch. I'm not sure about this image anyway, but That's the whole point of sketching, right? To make images that to make generate ideas that you might want to explore further. I really like this one because I keep coming back to it, and that's a good thing. That's a good sign. If I keep coming back to a certain sketch, then usually it means that I really like where it is going. Because it's really rough, and you have to have a lot of sort of creativity, the right word. You have to really have an idea about what you want to do to see what's going on. So it's not really a good idea to sort of, for instance, if we were to have this idea and want to sort of convey this to the publisher, it wouldn't really be really a good idea to come up with this sketch and say, you know what, we have this idea of a floating forest, and gonna do it like this. Then they're like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. So you don't really want that. You want to have a clear image. So the sketch is sort of for our own use. Yeah, I really like that one. This one, and I'm probably gonna go with a lot bigger, like where you look down into the. Yeah, we can probably do that here, where you're sort of looking down into the to the tree. So it's almost like a. It's thinner at the top than at the bottom, or thicker at the bottom. And maybe there's sort of a theater in the middle, or the tower, depends. We can figure that out later. And then there's gonna be housing all along the way here. So I can't stop but come myself to get back to this one. I really like it, really do. This is something we'd have to sort of get the perspective right, and then figure out what kind of buildings stuff we want here. Do we want open air, sort of holes in it or not? Because otherwise it looks like you're sort of looking down into a sand pit or something like that, and that's not what you want. You want to convey a cool story. We could also, and that's probably better, in the bottom, make a let's see, how does that perspective work? Something like this, so that you're looking up. It's probably better, and then but that's gonna take some work in terms of, and then in terms of perspective, and it's probably all gonna be quite gnarly, and we're gonna have to find some references for that. Maybe that we all want this to grow. Maybe we want to grow it in a sort of a spiral, almost like DNA. Um, so it's spiraling upwards. But this doesn't look like you're looking up. I really lost my my sense of perspective there. And this is sort of an external, maybe that. Probably should also sketch other IDs For instance, this. But no, I definitely know that I want a painting that is from this sketch. Definitely know that I want that. I also want one from the inside, but I'm not sure yet how I'm gonna do that. I think I have a sketch which could transform into to that. Or, this is something I did in my own spare time a couple of weeks ago. So sort of these, yes, there we go. See, we have this sort of sketch here, which we have exactly what I said, open in the middle, and then these going down. So we can definitely use this sort of as our. It's good to have this one, so we can kind of figure out the perspective, because we just have to work with a sort of a perspective grid, and of course we can transform this into maybe into a little bit more round, and we can cut off this area, for instance, and then we can use this. So that's great. So I already sort of did something with that type of perspective, and then of course we can do it the other way around. From the inside, we might be able to use something like this for that. Or I already did a painting from this sketch, but we're gonna modify it then, of course. So yeah, that's that. I haven't really much else. I think. Is there anything else? Maybe sort of something like this. You're looking from the bottom up at it. Just a little bit like the top one, this row, but slightly different. Yeah, I think we definitely want something like this as well. So we want this, we definitely want that, and we want something like that. And maybe there's a waterfall, there's a little lake, there's trees. So yeah, that's a nice little project to work on the coming weeks. I'd say we probably will probably be busy for 3 weeks with this, at least, I guess. We have these sketches now. That's great. Some mountains in the background. We're gonna pick a couple of those. Well, we have 4. We're gonna pick 4. Yeah, we're gonna definitely sort of straight copy this here, and this I'm not sure if I want to do it like this, but yeah, we probably want something like this, but a little bit. This viewpoint is quite high, so we have to change the perspective on this area here. And then a low viewpoint and a center one. So yeah, that's 4. We're gonna collect those, and then we're gonna make nice, better sketches from that, and then yeah, we will immediately transfer those into paintings, I guess, because it's we can just grab these and refine these. Maybe not this one, but yeah. So that's for next time. This was a 55-minute stream, so not too long, but that's okay for now. I don't want to spend too much energy yet on it. We're gonna go. We're gonna stream again tomorrow, I think. And yeah, the coming weeks we will be working on this floating forest ID. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.